Hey there, guys and gals, and hello, my friends. This is your host, Joe, Life with Joseph, and I had enough content today where I needed to split this up into two separate vlogs. One that I just posted about updates here to the hideout, and now I'm going to talk about travel plans in May and beyond. I had a bunch of this already filmed, but I got everything out of order, and I thought I'm just going to redo everything and try to make it a little bit more concise. So we'll get to that now. The first time the Dish and I got married, we got married the first week of May because that was when I can get the latest week of vacation for nice enough weather. And we got married, and when she went to work at the sheriff's office and she had enough time to where she can get the first week of May, and I always could, we would come down to Laughlin every year, and it was our thing, and that's when we first really started to come down here. You know, we'd stand in the sports book for the Kentucky Derby, and 400 idiots screaming, and we had our $2 bet. So May 8th is the 1 year anniversary of my wife's passing. So the 6th is our wedding anniversary, and the 8th is her passing, and it's a pretty memorable week, and I'm already in Laughlin and Bullhead City, so I thought I'd go for a little drive. And we're going to talk about that now. Now, I'm going to go to Barstow, and you're probably wondering, Jesus, dude, are you high? Well, I was going to go to Barstow after Parker last month, and my plans changed, and I want to go to Barstow because there's a couple things I want to film. I want to go out to Yermo and Daggett and Newberry Springs, and run some film. And I want to go in Barstow and run some film out to the train station and such. I got a ton of old Barstow pictures, so. And then possibly a day, I'll go down the Mother Road. Maybe I'll stop at the Redhead, or maybe I'll go all the way down to Emma Jean to see about having lunch, because our hamburger is supposed to be the real deal. I went last year for breakfast, and I wasn't as impressed as everyone else is. So there's a couple things. I'm going to get down there Monday. I'm going to stay till Saturday. I'm staying out at the Motel 6 in Lenwood because it's the nicer one of the bunch, and I found that out on the way home in February last year when I got sick. So that's what that's about. Now, another reason I'm staying at Motel 6 is I'm bringing Dude. I'm not going to board Dude. I'm going to bring Dude. And Motel 6 normally now has laminate floors, and they don't upcharge for Dude. And, I'm good with that. So I got to thinking on the Saturday I was just going to come home, but then I got to thinking, I want to film Giant Rock, and that's on the way to 29 Palms. And then south of that, I want to film a Desert Center, which is a kind of a deserted now, but it's a pretty popular place to run film for a number of YouTube hosts. And I think it's in GTA 5 or 6. I can't recall for sure. And out that way is a development called Eagle Mountain, which is now, to my understanding, fenced off. It's an entire city, school, all that stuff. And it used to be a literally mining company town. And then there was a prison there. And now there's no mine, no prison, and nobody in the town. And it's my understanding it's all fenced off with people security and stuff. Now, when I get down there, I'll look up the links and stuff. But I want to film this, then I'll drive out to Blythe. It's not that long of a day, and there's a little bit in Blythe that I may want to film, and I'll drive home the next day. So I've got all of those reservations taken care of. So I'm going to go to Barstow, I'm going to go to 29 Palms, and then I'm going to go out to Blythe, and then I'm going to come back to the hideout. Well, that's not my only May excursion. OG is going to take Charlie's brother, who lives in the Phoenix area. He's retired. And Charlie has family in San Diego County, his mom and his sister. So OG is going to take the brother to San Diego to see family. And now Charlie's not going to go because somebody needs to watch the pups. And when Charlie and OG go somewhere, the brother watches the pups. But the brother's going to be gone, and bluntly, my brother's not going to board the dogs. So he's going to watch the pups. So he said, hey, why don't you come down for the weekend? And we'll hang out. And by God, I'm going to do that. So I've made reservations in Sun City or Peoria or somewhere. And I'm staying at the Comfort Inn. I'm ready to go. But I decided on this trip that I talked about Seligman when I was in Seligman. But I'm going to use Seligman as my overnight stop because it's kind of a long way down there for me. And I liked it there, and bluntly, I want to spend money in the town and put my money where my mouth is. And so I've got reservations for going down and driving home at the historic Motel 66, where I stayed the last time. And I've got, it's all set to go. I'm going to probably eat at the Snow Cap this time. And I'll talk about that when I'm there. It's really an incredibly historical place, and a number of YouTubers have done much better jobs about talking about it than I'm ever going to. So I'll link to that then. But I'm going to Seligman, Phoenix, and then Seligman and on the way back. And for that, I'm going to board Dude. Now, I've talked about other travel ideas. I've talked about Avalon. I've talked about Amtrak. When my cousin was down, I talked about maybe I want to go back to San Diego, not San Diego, South Dakota. And either I would drive up there or I would take the trailer up there. I'd stop and see my cousin. She lives in Elko County, Nevada. And the money I spent on the heat pump is going to alter my travel plans. I don't want to spend every nickel that I have. I think I want to hold on to my money because I spent $9,500 on the heat pump, AC, and I stay away from politics, even on my social media posts on Facebook. I'm not going to convince any of you, and you probably don't want to hear my opinion anyway. But I'm also going to kind of stay home all summer, unless it gets just oppressive. I asked at the gate how many people of the 697 here leave, and it seems, if I remember it right, about 200 stay and the other 500 are snowbirds. So we may find out. But if it gets too oppressively hot, I'll make a decision. But I'm looking to stay for a while because I think I want to watch my money a little bit. And now, of course, the gamble is that, I keel over and I don't do Amtrak or Avalon because I'm pushing up daisies, but I'm willing to take that chance. So I think for now I'm just going to do the 2 trips in May, and we'll kind of play it by ear after that. I may go for a few 2 or 3 dayers. I'm just going to see how it goes. But A long and arduous excursion is unlikely this summer. Now, one of my brothers, one of my Hanai, had a baby about a month ago, and he lives in Shasta County, California. And I've talked about this, and I told him I'd go see him, the baby and the mom. But, and you know, it's a bit of a hike from down here. Okay. And, but I still want to do that. So that's in the back of my mind. I could drive, and it's probably got 4 days. I'd bring dude, and there's plenty of Motel 6s to stay at, so that shouldn't be a problem. But I need to play that by ear, so that is something that is going to probably be more important than Amtrak or Avalon. So I think that's about it for the travel updates. This is, as always, your host, Joe, Life with Yosef. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, especially a bunch of the new subscribers that I have. I hope you like my nonsense and you stick around. Enjoy your day. Peace be with you. We'll see you on the next one. Stay focused on your goals, and may Freya show you favor on the hunt.